rain slicked the glass towers of Manhattan, turning the skyline into a mirror of silver and sorrow. Inside a quiet rooftop lounge, Adrian Cole, 35 and every inch the self-made millionaire, sat alone with an untouched glass of bourbon. His reflection in the window was sharp, tailored suit, cold eyes, but beneath that polish, something fractured. Across the table lay a gold-embossed invitation. Elena and Christopher, engagement celebration. His ex-fiancée's name gleamed like a wound he couldn't close. Pride demanded he attend. Ego refused to go alone. That was when she walked in. Maya Lewis, coffee-stained apron still tied around her waist, had come up from the cafe below to deliver a tray. She wasn't supposed to be there, but fate rarely asked permission. When Adrian's eyes lifted, they landed on hers. Steady, unguarded, real. "You," he said suddenly. "Me?" "Yes." He leaned back, voice crisp with control. "I need a date for an engagement party. I'll pay you. Think of it as a contract." Maya blinked. "You're joking." "I don't joke about contracts," he replied, sliding the invitation across the table. "Smile when I need you to smile. Stand tall when eyes are on us. One night." Her instinct screamed run, but rent was due. Her dream cafe a sketch in a notebook she could barely afford. The landlord's threats echoed in her head. "And if I say yes, then you play the part of my girlfriend." She exhaled slowly. "Fine, but one condition. Don't treat me like something you bought." For the first time that night, he smiled, a flicker of something human. "Then we have a deal." By the time she returned to her crumbling apartment, the city had stopped raining, but her thoughts hadn't. The gold-edged invitation gleamed in her bag like a dare. She ran her fingers over her old sketches, her dream cafe, her mother's handwriting in the margins, and whispered, "It's just a contract." Yet, deep down, she already knew it wasn't. The next day blurred into espresso orders and exhaustion. Maya tried not to think about him, the man who looked like power and motion. But by evening, she found herself walking toward the same sleek car she'd seen the night before. Adrian stood waiting, immaculate as ever. "You're late," he said. "I never said yes." "Say it now. We'll go over terms on the way." She hesitated, then climbed in. Inside the car, silence pressed heavy. Finally, Adrian spoke. "We'll need rules. First, strictly professional. No emotions, no complications." She snorted. "Falling in love with a millionaire? Not on my list." He ignored the sarcasm. "Second, you'll attend 5 events with me, starting with the engagement. Third, respect my privacy." "Then I want one too," she said. "Don't treat me like an accessory." His gaze lingered. "Fair enough." The sedan stopped in front of a skyscraper of glass and ambition. "My headquarters," he said. "If you're going to play the part, you'll need preparation." Maya followed him through marble and whispers. Within minutes, she was surrounded by gowns, mirrors, and a woman named Claire who moved like efficiency in heels. Dresses were fitted, hems pinned, posture corrected. When she finally stepped out in a midnight blue gown, Adrian looked up and froze. "You'll do," he said quietly. She wasn't sure if it was approval or business, but either way, her pulse stumbled. 3 days later, the black sedan waited again. The city glowed gold as she stepped out, gown hugging her curves, nerves trembling beneath silk. Adrian offered his arm, expression unreadable. "You look convincing," he said. "Convincing?" "This isn't a compliment contest, Maya." The Grand Meridian Hotel glittered like a jewel box. Inside, every head turned. Adrian Cole, Manhattan's elusive millionaire, had arrived with someone new. Whispers followed them like perfume. Maya smiled, graceful under scrutiny, every move performance rehearsed in Claire's voice. "Smile when they look. Stand tall. Never fidget." Then came Elena. Red dress, diamond smile, venom in disguise. "Adrian," she purred, "you brought company." Her eyes swept Maya. "And you are—" "Maya," she said brightly. "And you must be Elena. Congratulations, the party's stunning." The warmth in her tone caught Elena off guard. "And how did you two meet?" "At a coffee shop," Maya replied smoothly. He spilled his drink. I told him he owed me another. Adrian's mouth curved faintly. She's been collecting ever since. Laughter rippled through the crowd. Elena's smile faltered. Score one for the fake date. As the night unfolded, Maya found herself navigating conversations, toasts, and subtle jabs with unexpected ease. Adrian's hand brushed hers when the crowd grew too thick. His quiet nods anchored her in the storm of attention. At one point, she saved a waiter from spilling champagne on a guest. The applause that followed wasn't for Adrian. It was for her. "Well done," he murmured. It was nothing. It was everything. Something in his tone sent warmth flooding through her chest. By the end of the night, Maya realized she wasn't pretending anymore. She belonged, if only for a moment. But across the ballroom, Elena's cold stare promised his victory wouldn't go unchallenged. When Maya returned home, the gown pulled at her feet. Her reflection in the cracked mirror was unrecognizable. The girl who'd lived paycheck to paycheck had become a woman who silenced a room, and she couldn't decide if it scared her more than it thrilled her. The next morning, Maya tried to shake off the glitter and chaos of the night, but the memory lingered. The way Adrian's eyes had softened, the way she felt seen for the first time in years. Her phone buzzed. Adrian, lunch. 1 p.m. Same building. When she arrived, the conference room was lined with glass walls overlooking the city. Adrian stood by the window, suit jacket off, sleeves rolled. "You handled yourself well last night," he said. "I wasn't auditioning." "Maybe you should." The investors were impressed. She frowned. "You invited me for business?" He turned, voice quieter. "I invited you because I didn't stop thinking about you." The silence between them thickened. For once, Adrian Cole, the man who never stumbled, seemed uncertain. Maya crossed her arms. "We had a contract, remember? No emotions, no complications." He smiled faintly. "You said that, not me?" Before she could answer, the door burst open. Claire entered, tablet in hand. "Adrian, we have a problem." On the screen, Billionaire's mystery date. Who is she? Dozens of photos, Maya and Adrian at the gala, laughing, touching, smiling. Her stomach dropped. "You told me no one would care." "They weren't supposed to," he muttered. "Elena must have leaked it. She wants to humiliate me." "No," Adrian said, his tone turning steel. "She wants to humiliate me." He moved closer, voice steady. "You have nothing to be ashamed of. I'll handle this." But that night, Maya's cafe shift was different. Customers whispered. Cameras flashed outside. When she dropped a cup, applause followed like cruelty. By the time she reached her apartment, reporters had crowded the street. "Maya, are you dating Adrian Cole? Did he buy you that dress?" She shut the door, back press of the wood, shaking. The illusion was over. Minutes later, the buzzer rang. "It's me," came Adrian's voice. She opened the door. His expression softened when he saw her tear-streaked face. "I told you I'd handle it." "Handle it," she snapped. "You can't erase me from the headlines. You live in that world, Adrian." "I don't." "Maya, listen." "No, you don't get it. I worked too hard to be reduced to someone's scandal." She closed the door before he could reply. Days turned to weeks. Maya stopped answering his calls. She buried herself in work, pouring coffee for people who now recognized her face, but not her story. Until one morning, the cafe door opened, and in walked Adrian. Not in a suit, not with a chauffeur, but in jeans and a gray sweater, holding 2 cups of coffee. "You shouldn't be here," she whispered. "Probably not." He set 1 cup in front of her. "But I wanted to show you something." He slid a folded newspaper across the counter. Adrian Cole defends waitress amid media scrutiny. "She has more integrity than any boardroom I've seen." Her breath caught. "I didn't just handle it," he said softly. "I told the truth." She stared at him. "Why would you risk your reputation for me?" "Because somewhere between pretending and protecting, I fell for you." Silence. Then, softly, "You shouldn't have." He smiled sadly. "You're probably right." He left the cafe quietly, the bell above the door chiming like a goodbye. Weeks later, Maya's life began to stabilize. The scandal faded, replaced by new gossip. But something inside her stayed unfinished. Then came an envelope, elegant, silver-sealed. No return address. Inside, a deed. The Story House Cafe, ownership transferred to Maya Lewis. She gasped. Beneath the legal pages, a handwritten note for the woman who reminded me what real looks like. Adrian. Tears blurred the ink. She didn't know whether to be angry or grateful. But when she walked into the new cafe that bore her name, sunlight spilling through the windows, it felt like a dream she once only drawn in pencil. A few weeks after opening, she saw him again. Adrian stood at the counter, no cameras, no pretense, just a man with tired eyes and a quiet smile. "Coffee?" she asked. "Only if it comes with forgiveness." Maya hesitated, then poured him a cup. "You built empires, Adrian. Why this?" He looked around the cafe, at the books, the art, the laughter. "Because this is something I can't buy. And maybe I don't want it anymore." For a while, they just sat together. Two people who'd met through circumstance and collided through truth. "Do you ever think," she asked, "that everything had to break for this to make sense?" He nodded slowly. Sometimes the only way to find real is to lose everything fake. Months later, the Story House Cafe became a local favorite. No scandal, no luxury, just heart. People came for the coffee, but stayed for the warmth that seemed to live in its walls. Every morning, Adrian arrived early to help set up, not as a boss, but as a partner. Their laughter filled the space long before customers arrived. One evening, as the city lights flickered outside, Maya found him hanging a framed photograph near the counter. It was from that first gala night, the one that changed everything. "You kept this?" she asked. He smiled. "It's the night I started pretending less." She touched the frame gently. "And the night I stopped apologizing for who I was." He turned to her. "Then I'd say it was a good deal." She laughed softly. "Contract expire, Adrian." He took her hand. "Then let's write a new one. No signatures. Just promises." Her eyes glistened. "Deal." He kissed her then, quiet, certain, unhurried. The world outside kept moving, but inside, time finally stood still. Epilogue. Years later, a journalist would walk into the Story House for an interview. The place was still bustling, walls lined with art and old photos. When asked if the rumors were true, that she once saved a millionaire from himself, Maya only smiled. "I didn't save him," she said. "We just reminded each other what real love looks like." The journalist asked, "And a contract?" She laughed. "It ended the moment we stopped pretending." Outside, Adrian stood by the window, wiping his hands on a flour-dusted apron, grinning at her. Because in a city built on illusions, theirs was the rarest story of all, born from a lie, but lived in truth.